Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network. Hi, this is Amit Doshi, and I wanted to thank each and every one of our listeners. It's been 2 years since I founded IVM, and it's been an amazing 2 years. We wanted to learn a little bit more about who is listening to our shows, and so we put together a short survey. The survey is anonymous, and we aren't going to be collecting any personal information. I would really appreciate it if you could take a couple of minutes out of your day and go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill it out. Thanks, and please keep listening.
Rants, crazy conversations, absurd questions, and everything in between. Cyrus Says is the podcast where I, Cyrus Brocha, let loose and talk to interesting people from across different walks of life. People who are available, actually, not more than that. Catch new episodes every Monday on iTunes, Audio Boom, or the all-new IVM Podcast app. Happy listening, but only for a few minutes.
You're listening to My Neighbor Zuckerberg.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of My Neighbor Zuckerberg. My name is Nabil Merchant, and I am your co-host for today, along with
Munaf Kapadia, the second host. Today, we are incredibly excited. In fact, my adrenaline is pumping. Gym connotation.
Muscles.
Yeah, muscles are flexed. As we are super proud to have Miss Madhuri Ruia as our interviewee today.
Absolutely.
And so let's begin. Today you run a thriving gym called Intergym, which is in one of the most premium parts of Bombay, Colaba. You have the who's who coming to your gym, the hoity-toity of South Bombay.
Hoity-toity of
South Bombay. The hoity-toity because I'm one.
I know, I was just going to say that.
So in fact, in My Neighbor Zuckerberg, we intentionally have one co-host from the Burbs.
Okay.
And one from South Bombay. So we represent the who's who of the city. And today, Madhuri, in fact, I think barely 4 weeks back, you launched the first novel of fitness.
On fitness, yeah, true.
So, were you always into nutrition? How did the idea of a gym occur to you? Where did all of this begin?
Let me put it this way, Madhuri.
Okay.
How did you and how did you manage to make fitness a business? And why did you choose to do this for the rest of your life?
You know, when I started out my life as a baby, I didn't know that I was going to be a fitness person. But like most of us don't know where we're going to. I was surely not going to be a fitness person because I love Punjabi samosas and I love to drink my beer. And I was a smoking girl in college and all of that. But I think life has its way of giving you your calling. And that was one of the ways that I discovered the power. I just don't want to say that it's nutrition and fitness, but it is the power of the foods on our plate and how exercise combinations.
Right.
Combination just not of dal chawal, but combination of chicken and squats. Let's say, how do you do that?
So as an aspiring entrepreneur, if I had to ask you, right, all entrepreneurs are looking for an opportunity, to take advantage of or a problem to solve. So what's the opportunity that you're taking advantage of right now, and what is the large problem that you're solving as a whole in the fitness space?
I was talking with Munaf about the middle name of Indians. Can you guess what that is? Lazy, leading to diabetics. We are the diabetic capital of the world, and that is the biggest fitness opportunity for me. That is the fitness entrepreneur business opportunity, because I have seen at really close quarters how the power of food and the exercise, the chicken and the squat theory that I have, that can actually help people to overcome and beat this disease right in its face.
Does that mean your journey towards building a gym started with the goal to combat the stereotype that women are meant to do what we think?
I don't deliberately try to combat any stereotype. I think to a certain extent I am this person who likes to do things a certain way. I like to be the first mover. I mean, I am. If there is something that's new, I'll be the first one to get it. Even today,
You've now seen that, yes.
Even if I know something, I'll be the first one to get it. Doesn't matter if it sucks, doesn't matter if it's like it's not good, but you make that effort. Only then you know what you can take and what you can't, and you find that one piece of equipment or one piece of a protocol that's really great, because I'm open to trying out a lot of things. And I think that has stood me in good stead as an entrepreneur, because from 36 I became an entrepreneur so to speak, and I think 42 kind of thing. Is it? What is like 7 years, 8 years from Now, how old would I have been? Anyway,
I'm guessing 18. Yeah.
18, 17.
yeah. Choose the age you want.
So we have. So once you completed your studies in nutrition.
Yeah, that was like a 5 year.
Yeah.
And I want to say this here, that the education, though it was long distance, it was really close.
Right.
Because
okay.
the curriculum was so great. Apart from just teaching me nutrition, it went into small business management, how to conduct a seminar. I did a public speaking course with them, sent them videos of, how I took the public speaking, because they're saying tomorrow as a nutritionist.
Right.
You need to go out and speak in public, and here I am. I mean, the podcast has ended that journey of how to learn how to speak and all those things. Yeah.
So the idea of the gym came in as soon as this particular course got over, or while you were doing this particular course?
No, so I was a part-time nutritionist for a while, and I was always thinking of how I can improve the adherence of my clients.
Okay.
To achieve their aspirations, because it's not simple. It's the before and after story happens to very few people.
Okay.
Most of us are always struggling.
Right.
But
you saw the opportunity that just creating a gym, in isolation without having a nutrition chalked out for a particular client would do no good. Hence, that's how you. So into gym, is again the powerful solution that we're talking about, right? So how am I encouraged to come to into gym? And do I get to spend time with a set of nutritionists that you have trained, or do I get to spend time with you? I just want to understand the journey of
good question. So let me answer the first part of that. The first part is that if you have a coin of health, one part is nutrition, and the other part is exercise. They can't be separated.
They cannot be separated.
They
absolutely
can't be separated.
Right.
It can't be demonetized as well. So apart from that, so I always wanted to have a setup where I could give this, this complete coin of health.
Okay.
So even if you flip one side, you get nutrition, the other side you get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and for me, clearly, even that exercise is not just one or other; it's everything.
Right.
Because the human body has close to 300 trillion cells, and we can't say that only a weight training, or only a yoga, or only a Pilates, or only a Zumba class is going to work on you.
Okay.
And apart from that, we are a system. We have 10 organ systems that work independently and interdependently with each and every other person. I think it's even bigger than Google, perhaps. Yeah. So we have to clearly do a lot.
Okay.
And I want to be part of that doing a lot story.
Right. So
that's how I started into gym, integrated fitness, and that is how I built the mantra of intelligent fitness.
Okay.
Intelligent fitness is clearly doing as much as you can do physically.
Right.
And to build yourself and to build your successes and your emotions, and all of those things are really very, very solidly linked over there.
Madhuri, from my point of view, one of the things you've done fantastically well on the business side is the branding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Intergym.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Intergym for me is not Intergym. For me, it's Madhuri Ruya. The way in which you've taken your personality, the fact that Madhuri Ruya as a brand stands for, fitness, stands for intelligence, stands for nutrition and health and mental well-being. All of that's been extended into your brand.
And never giving up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, at Intergym we believe that an injury is what? It's not a time to get laid up and, go to just get some medication. It's the beginning of the recovery phase.
Okay.
Yeah, so an injury is a good time to start recovering and getting stronger, because when the body recovers from one injury, there is a ripple effect on the rest of the body to get even stronger. We got to bust all of these things. I love busting myths, not because they're meant to be busted, but because they're not on sound principle. They are on hearsay. That is, the things that we've accepted blindly. I think it's on a universal conditioning platform, if I may say. Yeah. So once he's got his body calm, then he has a certain idea of fitness.
Okay.
And the body comp might agree with his idea of fitness or might not. So then we try to understand that and set informed, make an informed decision, set goals that are achievable, and start one step at a time. Because with fitness also there is another maxim that I love, which is small steps, big rewards. It's always like that. You start small and the rewards are really big.
And this can apply to any individual.
And
so
everyone.
I could be, an obese, stronger, a person, right? And obviously I want to look fit.
Yeah.
So I will have a routine that is in place specifically for me.
Right.
So and then do you? I'm sure that you're adding the entire nutrition.
So we give everybody a nutrition consult, whether they buy it or not.
Okay.
Because I told you what my concept of fitness is.
Right.
Exercise is like heads without tails. It doesn't happen.
Okay.
Factually incorrect. It is factually incorrect to say that you can have heads without tails. So
what you're fundamentally doing different from most other
brands.
Fitness centers or fitness brands is allowing not the customer to decide what his fitness goal should be, but you're taking that.
Yeah, but we do it as a cooperative effort,
as a
co-creation of their fitness.
Yeah.
We do it as a co-creative effort.
So there was this time, in the morning when I was lifting 50 kilos of weight, because that's how much I lift, listeners.
Right.
And I was having a problem doing it, and I was like, Madhuri, am I lifting the wrong weight?
Okay.
And she said something really interesting. She said that, Munaf, it's not about how much weight you lift, it's about the mood you're in when you're lifting that weight.
Okay.
And I think, Madhuri, tell me if this is correct, but your gym and your personal branding and everything that you guys stand for in terms of fitness represents that maxim, that
mood,
It's not a fitness plan and hey, let's do 30 squats and 50. It's about the state of mind you come in and how you take that ahead in the gym.
Yeah, because state of mind is not Googleable. No, you can get you can get a fitness plan, you can get hundreds of fitness apps, you can get a diet. What's going to bind it all together? Who is that you who's going to just sort of connect those big dots and make it something so energetic and powerful? Because that is something you have to find from yourself. And we really help when we co-create, we are open to the energies of our clients coming at the gym and then making something bigger out of it. So we are not terribly rule bound unless the clients are really naughty. But we like to be open. We one of the team activities I've taken with my team at Intergym is how to say no by saying yes.
A lot of these things a lot of approaches that you've applied to Intergym and what you do at Intergym don't sound like something you would do if you were from the fitness industry. And
is it?
Yes, and I think that's what makes Intergym that much more fascinating. Your approach towards mental health when it comes to fitness, your approach towards the instructions you give your trainers that, hey, there's a certain way in which you need to speak to your clients so you don't get no for an answer.
Yeah.
So, at this stage, again, I'd like to ask you this, that is there something, was it your upbringing, was it, for example, you mentioned that you were a teacher.
I was a Montessori teacher, yeah.
So, do you feel that played a role in...
Yes, it taught me a lot of customer service skills. How did it do that?
Yes.
Yeah, because Maria Montessori is, again, a very customized teaching method. I mean, if I look back, each child is taught how to bring out the best in himself with a series of very concrete equipment and teaching equipment. And one of the first things, they don't force children to do any work. So children are invited to study how beautiful the world is, or how beautiful the world of math is, or how exciting it is to learn about the decimal system. Let's learn more about the decimal system. Like Munaf, let's learn more about how to squat 100 kilos.
No.
Yeah. 100 pounds, sorry. 100 kilos is like crazy.
Yeah. So 100 pounds is also like crazy.
So would you say like, it's... So that is the approach, and in Montessori they never say no. I think a lot of it has come from that, and learning from children. There's a very exciting book that also inspires me a lot. It's called How to Talk So Kids Listen, and Listen So Kids Talk. And I'd like to switch the kids word for adults.
The same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, so that's I think all of us should read that book. It's like a cartoonish form on communication skills, yeah.
What I find fascinating is that entrepreneurship and the ultimate venture that you set out to create, or the multiple ventures that you build as an entrepreneur, they're an outcome of your upbringing and the different things that you do and the different...
And your life's experiences.
And age is not a factor at all. For example, there are people we've met who've become entrepreneurs at 15.
Absolutely.
And there are people we've met who've become entrepreneurs at 60. Right? And it's just ultimately about where you find yourself at that point in time.
It's just a mindset. It's an entrepreneurial mindset to just
Whether you
go
allow
out
yourself to
there
do
and
it.
do what you believe in doing and leave no stone unturned. So never give up on your on. I say as far as fitness is concerned, never give up on your own or another's fitness, because I'm only as fit as the other person. I think it's the same thing. That it's a click in the brain that says, hey, I have to do this.
And so what I see you in Madhuri is what I see in a lot of entrepreneurs, which is you have a lot of thoughts, you have a way of thinking which is very different from what maybe 10 other people around you are accustomed to. And do you find it challenging to get your thoughts out there? And do you sometimes find yourself in a quest to maybe create your own platform to get these thoughts out there? And have you done something about it?
That's a nice idea you've given me, Munaf. Thank you. I think sometimes as an entrepreneur, your mind is racing ahead of others. Others are happy to be in a sort of a simple, no, not simple, but in their own state of whatever work they're doing. But I think what is important for me is that communicating. I've always tried to communicate my thoughts to people, and I have worked on the kind of words and the language and the intonation that I must use with different types of people, different classes of people. And I think at the end of the day, as long as you communicate and you get that look back from the person to say, I've registered what you're saying, I think most of the job is done. But yes, I would love to make that platform, because I have got a lot of exciting insights into how life should be, how it has been for me, and how we can make it excitement. I'm an excitement sort of a person.
You actually do have a platform.
Sorry?
Exactly.
You do have a platform.
Right here on Zuckerberg.
No, you do have a platform. It's your book.
Thank you for
It's
that
my
again.
book. It's my book, of course.
It's your
How could I
book.
forget?
Of course.
Yeah. It is totally my book.
It's just exciting, on how you actually created a novel.
Yeah.
Usually there's this, like you Google and you check, fitness goals and fitness objectives, and you have tedious articles.
Yeah.
But guess what? This is a story, of multiple protagonists, trying to achieve not their fitness goals, but their life goals through fitness.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, I need to give him. That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to. How did you guess that so quickly?
And for me, that was exciting. That was really, really exciting.
That was it was exciting for me too, because when I was asked by the publisher Jaico to write this book, we had thought of a typical health book with all the multiple chapters on diabetes and this, that, and that. And I was so traumatized by writing that sort of a book that I had to go with my daughter for a holiday to Goa, and chill with her to think about what kind of book I'm going to write. And
that's a very, very good way to find inspiration for a book.
But we got so chilled out, I forgot about my book, except for the 1 hour before I was traveling back. And as I was sitting by the beaches of Goa, my protagonist walked right in front of my face. And she was originally called Deepa. Okay. But we've now made her Natasha. But she walked in and her whole... What were the reasons that made her what she had become? That became the whole story of the book. And
so would you like to take us to the characters of this book?
Yeah, sure.
And how they relate with everyone?
Before we do that, we should probably tell our listeners what the book's called.
Oh, yes.
Who Stole My Calories?
Who Stole My Calories?
Who Stole My Calories?
Lovely.
Yeah, and it's ironical that people say, you need to steal your calories to lose weight, but this book is about how not to steal the good calories. So there's always tongue-in-cheek throughout the book on this calorie thing. Yeah, so Natasha was this Miss Teen and very athletic and gymnastic and very beautiful at 18. She wins the Miss Teen contest, and then within a month she finds that her mother has committed suicide.
Oh God.
Yeah, and this book goes then to 30 years later when she's fat and she is like sick because she's like a slug. She can't walk. So there's no athleticism. There's just sluggishness. There's no desire to do things. She hides chocolates in a lingerie drawer, and which she sneaks into her life because sweets are like that. They are addictive.
Right. Right.
You have one, and they are nicotinous in nature, even
Right.
if they're not, even if you're not smoking. So
Yeah.
she does that, and her friend of the time, of her friend when she was 8, her whole life is in disarray. So
Okay.
that is the worst part of the book. Otherwise, it's only a book about hope and how great you can, how good fitness can be to make you successful in every walk of your life.
It's outstanding how
Yes,
you.
thank you so much.
So you do have a platform where you can actually express.
Yes,
you know,
And,
yes.
I'm sure
I
you're gonna be
love my
having-
authorship I love all my platforms so much. I think.
And again, like I keep on bringing this back to this entire concept of how Madhuri Ruya is a beautiful example of an entrepreneur
Yeah.
who found a trigger that motivated her to challenge some of the preconditioning she had in her life. And I believe your gym and now the next step, which is your book, is kind of symbolic of
All of
you
this, yeah.
Yeah.
sort of stretching your wings.
Yeah.
And flying. I'm stretching my muscles.
I was just thinking about that. I was trying to come up with the name for the. And on this note, Madhuri, we would like to say thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I had such a super time.
And I can't think of any of the podcasts we've had which will motivate our listeners, not only into fitness but into entrepreneurship, the way your podcast does.
That was an episode of My Neighbor Zuckerberg, brought to you by Indus Vox Media and media partners Inc. 42.
My Neighbor Zuckerberg is an Indus Vox media production. If you like listening to My Neighbor Zuckerberg, also check out Simplified, a podcast that helps you seem smarter than you are to others by giving you key insights on a range of topics, be it food, technology, music, or politics. Hosted by Chuck, Naren, and Sriket, episodes out every fortnight.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.